I just finished a live, and the last comment that I had on that live was the person saying that it's hard to let go of someone who mistreats them when in love. I'm dressed like this in my camo because, you see, I understand that this is actually a battle. This is a battle against struggle love because it's a battle. And this isn't the thing with just men or just women. I tell you, every situation is unique with the scenarios and with the peculiarities of their relationships. Most of the time, nothing is a one-size-fits-all. The only things that are a one-size-fits-all are factors that must be considered for every relationship. For instance, respect, mutual commitment, accountability on both sides, the treatment and regard for dignity of both parties. There are just factors that must be there for every relationship to make sense or to work. But when we see things that play out in relationships, we should be careful to not adopt those mindsets as the way that relationships happen. So one of the things that I decided that I would just come over here, hop on here to talk about. By the way, that was on another channel. This particular channel is just focused on ending struggle love. And that's why I decided that I would hop on here over from there and do this conversation here. To end struggle love, you have to begin with not being in struggle love most of the time. Have you done that exercise in the second episode that I posted? I posted a video where I think I said it's an exercise or regain your, I don't remember what I titled it, but you will see that that's the second video published on the 2nd of November. Okay, I guess I will leave that link in the bottom of this video so that you can know the video I'm talking about. You need to do that exercise so that you can understand how we create the struggle of going from the beginning. It doesn't end if we continue that way. So what happens is, from the beginning, we see the signs that this is going to be struggle love. And we feel like, okay, we're going to work at these kinks and then we're going to get through them and then things will start going forward. But that's not how it happens. It starts in the beginning. If we don't nip it in the beginning, then all of a sudden we find ourselves in something that we didn't know was going to be a struggle, and it becomes struggle love, and it is now set in stone, and that is what it is. So I want you to understand that we create struggle love because we lay the foundations, and that happens in the beginning. I'm going to give you one illustration for you to understand. Actually, two. One of them I used as an example in the live that I'm just coming from. Somebody was going to marry somebody who had told him that he wouldn't touch her body freely. And he agreed to that. And I asked him, why did you go ahead to marry a woman who has said that she's going to be restricting you to touching her body? She's going to be restricting what you can touch on her body. Are you a man who, do you not like a woman's body? And he said, of course I do. I said, because that's one of the reasons you're getting married. You want to have access to this woman's body. So why on earth would you agree to something that is already telling you that you're not going to get one of the big factors that you're getting into this marriage for? And his thought was that after he's shown her how much he loves her and how patient he is and how good and kind she is and how this is such a great thing that's happening to her in her life, that she will, somewhere along the line, she will change. But she didn't change. And now they are divorced. She keeps making his life miserable. She keeps torturing him because now they have children together. So you don't want to create this relationship, particularly when you're going to end up having a family. And then maybe you're tied at the hips for the next 18 to 25 years until those children grow up. Sometimes you tie yourself to a monster. This thing is showing you in the beginning that it's ugly, that it's a monster, that it's bad for you. But you're thinking in your mind that you're going to show them how it's good for them. You're already doing something good, and they are not showing you how they're happy that you're doing something good. And now you think that your answer is going to be doing more of doing something good. No, it doesn't work that way. There is a reason why they're doing this. Sometimes this person is not necessarily a bad person because they're not reciprocating. But the bottom line is there's a reason why they're not reciprocating. They're not reciprocating because they know that this relationship is not satisfactory to them. And it's not because of anything you're doing. It's not because of anything that reduces your self-worth or the value that you have. It is just that for this particular person, this isn't what they need in their life. So they're just making do with you because you're providing something else. But you need to know that if you're not what a person has decided is what they need in their life, you need to not make this relationship work. And what happens is that the more that you invest in it, the more you feel like you need to recoup what you've invested. So it becomes a sunk cost fallacy thing, and you keep on investing more and more, and you just don't want to turn back. And before you know what's happening, you are stuck in this struggle and in this endless wheel. So do not create struggle love. Another one is someone getting married. And the person that this lady was going to marry said to her that he wanted to know how much she had in her bank account. And when she objected to it, he said, okay, that if she wouldn't show him that he's not getting married. And then she succumbed. Until tomorrow, they still have fights. And what are the fights about? This man doesn't care about her. He gives her all sorts of ultimatums. He makes all sorts of demands. He takes money from her as well. And he doesn't give anything back in return. He treats her like she's there to satisfy his needs in life. He doesn't even want to touch her. So now she's married, but she's like she's not married. He doesn't want to spend time with her. But you see, this was obvious in the beginning, in the creation of this marriage. When they were going ahead to create this marriage, she saw that. And instead of pulling back, she went ahead to satisfy his unnecessary and unreasonable demand, to show him her accounts, how much money is in her account, and all other things that he was demanding for, to make him happy. You don't make a person happy who is already not happy with what you are giving. You can't make them happier. If your intentions are good, I'm talking about when you are the one who is giving and somebody is misbehaving. If your intentions are good and they're not happy with you and they're not reciprocating, you don't try to get them to reciprocate by being even better. No. What it tells you is that there is something that's already off. There's something that they're not satisfied with. They're not happy with. This relationship is not something that they really want to make work. Otherwise, with everything that you're doing, they would work with you. They will be happy and they'll be excited to work with you on growing this relationship. But when you're doing those things and you're making those sacrifices and they're just making things difficult, it tells you right there, this is a struggle of building that you're putting up. Don't do it. Don't do it, for goodness sake. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse because you find yourself now in sunk cost fallacy relationships. That's all that you get out of these things. So don't create this struggle of relationships. The moment that you're starting a relationship and somebody begins to bring trouble and begins to be troublesome, have a conversation with them. Tell them, I am doing my best in this relationship. I do this and that for you, but it looks like you are not happy in this relationship. I think that we will have to step back and leave this relationship because I don't think that you're satisfied in it. Give them that option. You don't do it by trying to do more of what you're already doing that is failing. What you do is that you give them the option to leave the relationship, because if you don't do that, it comes into their subconscious like you're working hard to keep them here by bribing them. Sometimes they don't even realize it consciously, but that is what transmits in the subconscious. You are someone who is now working hard to please your God. So they wax stronger in the position of being who they are while you keep on bending and bending and bending. So don't do it by bending. The more that you do this, you will create this thing and then you will be struggling to keep it afloat. You're keeping something afloat because the person with you is being a burden, a heavy weight that you're carrying that is keeping you down while you're struggling to keep this thing afloat. They're not working with you, they're working against you. I say again, they're not always bad people, because I have spoken to people who have done this, and I have I'm going to start reading these things up to you so you can see that they are real. People do this because they want to give someone a chance, but they find that they really can't. They can't because it's not what they want. They're only doing it because of you. They know that they're just giving you a chance. And so they know that they're not being loyal to themselves, and it frustrates them. And they can't stop being loyal to themselves and switch it on to being loyal to you. That's just not fair. So that's why I say sometimes it's not that they're a bad person. It is you who needs to recognize that this is not something that this person wants. And don't create something for them, with them, that they don't want, that they'll be fighting against. That is why sometimes you see people who have stood by someone who they knew was going through a hard time, and they shared with that person how they'd be there for them, and they would always have their back. And that person still turns around to betray them. Because you are only there to help them. That's the only reason this relationship is existing. You're only there to please them. This relationship is not there because two people want to be there, which is what a relationship is supposed to be made of. So what is the point in making sure that it works? And at the end of the day, you are still not having a relationship. You are only having a battle. You're in the battlefront all the time. Don't create these relationships. And that's my word for you for today. Make this make sense in your life. Smash the like button and come back for more episodes. Every episode is going to give you a message to ensure that you do not create more struggle love in your life. We have to put an end to struggle life. We have to banish struggle love. Struggle love is not a thing. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. Bye-bye.